to start off our program, Jan Eliason is going to speak. Jan has worked, lived, and played in the Fargo-Moorhead area for the past 25 years. Currently, she's the director of the Gladys Ray Shelter and Veterans Drop-In Center and Fargo Cass Public Health Local Detox Center. Throughout her professional and personal life, she has advocated for the system-wide changes needed to more effectively address the heartbreak and struggles of addiction, mental illness, and suicide. Jan believes education, advocacy at every level, and increasing awareness are essential in fighting the stigma surrounding mental illness and suicide, and that our community has what it takes to make this happen.
Hi everyone. You know, I do a lot of speaking in front of groups, and typically I'm not nervous. On the way here today I thought, man, I'm a little bit nervous. And I thought about that. Obviously, it's a hard topic to talk about. And getting up in front of a group and talking about suicide and everything that comes with it is a really hard thing to do. But it fits with what Ashley was saying about I do believe this community has what it takes. I'll back up a little bit. My introduction to the word suicide, my understanding of the word suicide came from the moment that my father died by suicide. In a moment his life ended and mine was changed forever. It was hard to imagine in those days that I could ever get beyond what was happening. It was a fast and hard introduction to all the stigma, the silence that followed anytime I told anybody what happened, the lack of services, the lack of understanding. In the wake of the death of Robin Williams, every time I hear anything, you know, he's such a funny man, he took care of others so well, all of the different things that come, and I'm sure that happens with everybody. And I thought, you know what, my dad was a funny man. My dad took care of everybody, and he wore the mask really, really well. And, you know, he did. He wore the mask really, really well. You fast forward 32 years, here I am today. And I continue to see the same battles, continue to see the same stigma and the same struggles. I continue to see people reluctant to talk about what happened when they lose somebody that they love. In recent weeks, or in recent years, I'm sorry, I had a family member go through something similar. He had a pretty significant attempt to end his own life. And there I was again, 30 years later, going, you know, I don't dare tell anybody about this because I don't want anybody to understand that this person that I love and adore is just mentally ill. He's just depressed. He's so messed up that all he can think about is ending his own life. Because what I know is that he's funny, he's smart, contributes to the world around him, all of these things. And I thought, dang it. Actually, it was much more than that, but I'll just say dang it here. Why am I still feeling like this? With all the things that I've come to understand and all of the people I've known, why am I still so apprehensive to talk about his struggles and my struggles with what happened? I really do believe in our community, and I believe that as we go forward, things have improved, yes. We've got support groups, we've got events like this, we're trying to raise awareness, but it takes every one of us. Every time we hear the word suicide, we have to brace ourselves and prepare ourselves to maybe seize that reachable and teachable moment. To try to help people understand that sometimes the comments that come from being uninformed, the curiosity, all of those things can be really hurtful. And they don't help our situation in moving forward and trying to improve our access to services, improve our ability to stomp out all of the stigma and all these crazy notions that surround the ideas of or the challenges of suicide and depression and everything that comes with it. It really does take all of us in our relationships. I surround myself with people that understand that I have feelings about this, that are okay with me talking about the person, my father, that I loved and who he was to me, and still is. Who let me talk about how tough it was to pick up the pieces and how my life was never going to be the same, and that's okay. How my father died doesn't define who he was. And the fact that I was left to try to figure out what am I going to do now, that doesn't define me. What has defined me is what I've tried to do with it. What I've tried to harness in terms of the knowledge and the experience. Talking about it, talking to people I don't know, like today, I don't know a lot of you. Talking to people that I do know and trying to change people's thinking. Can't keep going the way that we're going. We have to support all of the efforts to educate. We have to talk about this even when our voice shakes and we think we're going to fall apart in the moment that we are talking about it. Education can create better services. It can create better understanding around the issues of mental health, addiction, and suicide. It can create compassion for people who are left behind to pick up the pieces and some days don't think that's ever going to happen. Education is the key, and for me, hope stays alive, and it is alive and well because I really believe that education is possible. I believe that we're making gains and we have a long way to go, and it's getting people to talk about things. That's where the hope lies. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. So next we're going to have Ann Jacobson and Sonia Carr speak. And they are both grief support coordinators at Bolger Funeral Home. Ann is also an ordained Lutheran pastor and is currently on staff at Bethlehem. As one of the grief support coordinators, Ann feels privileged to help grieving individuals and families with support and resources as they begin the difficult journey to learn to live without their loved ones. Sonia Carr is also an ordained Lutheran pastor and is a board certified through the Association of Professional Chaplains. Currently, Sonia also works on staff at the Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Fargo. Because grief and loss are realities in life, she appreciates being able to walk with people, even if only for a time, as they live with life's losses. And Sonia.
Thank you. We are honored to be here today. You come here to remember and honor your loved ones. While Ann and I work with people who are grieving and have been with many people through difficult situations, we are not the experts in your grief. You are the experts. You are the experts because your grief journey is yours. No two are exactly the same. What you know and your particular experience matters. The stories of your loved ones, their death and life stories, are now yours to share or to hold. By being here, you give your sorrow feet. And in the process of walking, maybe even words. Giving sorrow feet and words can help in our living with the loss of someone loved.
The latest Time magazine cover is the Answers issue. It names our desire to have answers to all our questions. In our grieving and mourning the death of a loved one, we seek answers to our many questions. Why? How could this happen? What could have I done differently? One writer, Greek writer, Ted Menton, says, "Life would be so much easier if all our questions were either yes or no, or true or false. We might even be happy from time to time to deal with a couple of multiple choice questions. But in the face of death, we feel that all of the questions are beyond our grasp. Death is a difficult question with no easy answer. And so we are asked to live with our questions."
Grief and loss are difficult, no matter what the circumstance. But there is a uniqueness to suicide grief. The unanswered questions, the stigma still present in a culture that doesn't really know how to talk about pain and loss. I have lost a loved one to suicide, and there is the unexpectedness of the death, even if in some situations it's not altogether surprising. Lives are shattered in ways that one can't begin to imagine until we're in the midst of the experience. There are issues that are complicated, and these complexities may underlie the reasons that our loved ones complete suicide. It takes courage to face openly the realities of our loved one's death. There is boldness needed to engage life after a loved one's death. It takes courage to embrace your memories, both happy and sad, and to be here.
In our pain avoidance society, tending to our grief and loss is never easy. Yet the only way to heal is to mourn. The only way to reconcile the reality of our loved one's death is to move toward the pain, toward our hurting heart. We need to go through that door of despair and heartache. We can't go under it, around it, over it, or run from it. But we must move through it to move to a place of living with our grief. One doctor makes a distinction between grief and mourning, and I think this can be helpful. Grief is the internal thoughts and feelings we experience with a loss. Mourning is the outward expression of our grief. It is grief gone public. Talking, crying, journaling, acknowledging anniversary dates are a few examples of mourning, the outward expression. And the only way to heal is to mourn, to let our internal emotions and thoughts become external. Unfortunately, like we have said, many survivors of suicide suffer alone and in silence. There are often greater challenges to walk out through the difficult door of despair into places and people who will listen and support us and help break the silence. Congratulations to all of you for the courage, we said the word courage several times, to walk out through the door of pain, to be with others, to find support, to talk and tell your story. Continue to find people who will listen and not judge. More and more we are learning that it does take great courage to be vulnerable to face our fears and anger and heartache. But as we do, we walk out into hope. Thank you for the privilege to be with you today.
Thank you, Anne and Sonia. So next, Cindy Miller, First Link's Executive Director, is just going to speak a little bit about some of the suicide support services that First Link provides and our plans for our suicide support services fundraiser for next year.
Good afternoon. Like she said, I'm Cindy Miller. I'm the Executive Director here at First Link, and I'm excited to tell you that next year we're going to try something a little different. There's lots of walks in the fall for a lot of different causes, and we're going to try to do next year a silent auction, but let's not be silent about suicide. Silent auction is kind of that idea that we're looking for an exact. If any of you are marketing people and you can help us with that title, that would be great. So it'll be next year, and during September once more, when it's Suicide Awareness Month, and it'll be held in place of our annual Walk of Hope. So next year, we're hoping from now on, moving forward, it'll be the third Thursday of September, and we're looking at the Hilton Garden Inn, so Thursday, September 17th, from 5 to 8. So we're going to be serving appetizers, we're going to be hosting a silent auction, and it'll be followed by a program that's going to be focused on suicide awareness, remembrance, and prevention. If you would like to donate to that, or if you know of would like to help us gather items for the silent auction, we would definitely appreciate that. And just let me know, or any of the other staff here at First Link. Also, it's really important that we talk about this. And it's great that we have this event today. We need to keep having events where we can talk about suicide. So it's going to be a not-so-silent silent auction event. We're going to try to continue this event every year, so I'm hoping you can all come, that you can all support it. And I just want to thank everyone for coming today and being able to talk about this and to be able to help support First Link also. First Link is the only call center in the whole state of North Dakota that answers the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So FirstLink is working 24/7, answering calls on the 1-800-273-TALK number. So we saw that number go through social media after Robin Williams' death recently. It's just important for people to know that we are doing the work. The FirstLink staff are the people who are on the front lines taking those calls and making a difference. And we appreciate your support, and we hope that we can look forward to your continued support in the future. So we're thinking of you.
Thank you. So now we are going to play a song. And the song, again, the lyrics are in your program, and it is going to be Tears in Heaven by Eric Clapton. And we're just going to play it over the system here.